Hey everyone, this is Ashley Kay from xrecoverysystem.com. Today I thought I'd answer some questions and talk a little bit about, what to do, if you're stuck in a situation where things aren't quite moving along as fast as you would like with your ex. So, by the way, if you have any questions, please go to my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/AshleyK.advice, and the link's down below there. So, one of the things I notice, and it happens with me as well, is that after a breakup, we tend to get inundated with like heaps of, a lot of thoughts about the breakup, about what we should have done, about, what we're going to do now, how we're going to attract them back, and then all the obstacles that come up along the way. So we get kind of bogged down by all these problems, and all these little things start to become this big thing. And especially if you're still in communication with your ex-partner, you know that there's a lot of talk back and forth about what went wrong, what happened, how you feel, how they feel, the reasons, and all sorts of conversations around the problem, but not a lot about the solution, what to do about it. So I guess this is where I kind of come in and try to help you simplify the problem a bit, so you don't feel so overwhelmed and so panicky about what's going on. So you might feel like you're in the middle of all these problems, like this maze you have to feel like you need to get through to, get your ex back, or get your guy back, or your woman. And, how do you jump through all these hoops? And what I'm trying to get you to realize is that, first of all, it doesn't matter all those other things, the reasons, the logics, and the why they left and all that sort of stuff doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter what your ex is doing, whether they're with somebody else or not, whether they hate you or not talking to you or anything like that. None of that outside stuff matters when it comes to love, okay? What you really want to get at is the feeling of love, because when you think about it, when you first fall in love with somebody, you're not thinking about like the obstacles, that comes up along the way. Like, for example, long distance relationships, you fall in love with somebody and it doesn't seem to matter that they're so far away. They live so far away, you hardly see them. That's just a small thing. You can kind of, look past it. Also, if you love someone, you might look past the fact that they don't have a lot of money, or they don't seem to have a lot of things going on in their life. You just love them because you love them. You don't really know why. It's sort of like this feeling that comes up. So what I'm trying to say is that love comes first, and then we use reason and logic to try to justify that feeling, justify why we do it. And this is where, example is if your partner, your ex, is with somebody else, and this other person might seem a lot have less than you. They might not be a very good person. They might treat your ex-partner really poorly. They might not have a lot of money. They just seem to be a step down to who you think you are, and you kind of left scratching your head going, well, what happened there? Why is that? That's because none of that stuff really matter. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with how much money you make, how much you do for your ex, all that sort of stuff. What it comes down to is that feeling of love. If your partner is just feeling that love for somebody else, that passion for someone else, that other stuff doesn't matter. Now, what you probably want to know is how to get them to feel that for you. Okay, this is where this is the most important thing, not their feeling for somebody else. But I'm trying to get at, when you're thinking about all these obstacles in the way, when you're thinking about, like the distance or, whatever reasons that come up, just realize it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter at the end of the day. So how do you get that feeling of that love to come back? Well, the first mistake I see people do is that when they think about trying to attract their ex back, it's usually they picture themselves sort of like trying to pull or drag their ex back, kind of like, throwing a net out there and they're like catching them and then sort of like pulling them back in. And I think that's where I guess a lot of tricks and tactics tend to be kind of like you're putting out these traps for your ex to kind of walk on and hoping you'll fall in one of the traps so you can like pull them in and kind of trap them forever, like into a relationship with you. And clearly that's not a very good way of looking at it, because if your ex does fall for one of these traps that you set, what do you think will happen next time? They're going to feel like a fool. They're going to, make sure next time they stay far away and not be so foolish. So you need to be careful what kind of strategy you're using. So one of the things I say in my program, Ex Recovery System, is talking about, where you put your focus. So if your focus is, on, going out, having a good time, going out with friends, and you're trying to project that you're moving on, you're past the breakup, you enjoying life again. So one of the things people do, they tend to interpret that to mean they need to put on this big show, for their ex to see, so the ex will think that, they're moving on. And, they'll put on their Facebook all sorts of little quotes and messages and hinting at different things, or like sending them texts hinting they might be going on dates and seeing other people, and, kind of putting up this mask or this appearance that they're moving on. And, sometimes that works to get the ex's attention. You'll see the ex like starting to talk again and get the communication going, and that works. But after a while, it doesn't actually progress anywhere, because what happens is once the ex do start talking to you again, you start putting that mask aside, or you start to kind of go back to saying, I still love you, I still want to be with you, and projecting that image out there that you still want to please them. It's kind of, and as soon as they sense that sort of feeling from you, then they know that, okay, if you're doing this if you still have feelings for them, that means all this stuff that they see you were doing in the past, that must be for them. They'll connect in their heads that you're just doing all this stuff not for yourself, but you're doing it for them. Okay, and that's one example of how you can demonstrate to an ex that you're actually putting on a show. It's not real. Like, you're not being genuine. You're trying to hoping that they'll fall for it, so they'll come closer. Then as soon as you do that, they're going to become suspicious instantly. Okay, they're going to think, all right, if you pretty much lied about that stuff, then if you're only doing this to please me, to trying to get me back, if I do come back, then what's going to happen? Then you're going to put all this stuff away, and suddenly what's going to be left? What's going to be the real person underneath the mask? And they'll probably think, well, that must mean nothing's changed, that you are still the person that they left, from the last relationship. You were just kind of covering it up with all this other stuff. But as soon as they see that, you were just covering up, then they pretty much know, you'll still, you and all the problems of the past will still be there if they were to come back. So it's really important that the idea of them coming back must come from them. They must actually want to come back themselves. They must think, it's their idea to come back. And the only way you can make it their idea is not to, forcibly like pull them back in sort of thing, but just be where you are. Just stand still. Don't try to go out there and jump over all these hoops and obstacles and try to impress them, but just be who you are first. So stand still, be who you are, think about what it is they're coming back to, what they want to be coming back to. Okay, because once you're comfortable about that, once you understand, you know, what it was that that they fell in love with, that your ex-partner fell in love with, I mean, the person you are that they fell in love with, then you can get back there. You can bring that out and be honest with yourself and with your ex about, you know, who that person is. Now, a lot of us tend to, you know, lose ourselves a bit in a relationship, and when we're stressed out or when we become unhappy, we tend to project that onto our ex-partners or onto our partners, and that's often when a breakup can happen, because, you know, it's so much tension, so much drama, that it's just easier sometimes to walk away from that situation. So the hard part is getting back to who you are. But actually, it's a lot easier if you stop focusing on all this other drama happening around you, focusing on, you know, what your ex is doing or who they're seeing or what lies they're telling you. Like, if you're constantly thinking about, okay, my ex, you know, they're telling me one day that they really love me, they really care about me, but then, you know, I find out the week after they're dating someone else, or they're seeing someone else. Or why do they say this on the Facebook page? Or, you know, why are they telling this friend that? Or, you know, and speculating and trying to analyze and figure out what they're really thinking and all that sort of thing. Then you're putting your focus too much on all the other crap, all the problems that are around you, but not actually working on, you know, yourself. So if you put the energy that you're putting outside and actually turn it around and put it back onto yourself, you will make yourself strong. Not only will you make yourself strong, but you will start to act different. You know, no longer will you appear like, you know, you're trying to do stuff to impress your ex. You're actually doing stuff for yourself, to please yourself and make yourself happy. You know, make yourself feel confident and, you know, cheerful and just delightful to be with, because you're actually content, happy with yourself, and not always trying to please your ex-partner. And that's the other thing, because like, I know there's some people who, you know, during the relationship you might have done a lot of made some mistakes and you feel really bad about it. Okay, when you feel bad about the things that happen in the relationship, what people tend to do is they tend to want to overcompensate by doing the complete opposite, like way too much. So if you have neglected your ex, or you know, said some things you regret, or were too, you know, didn't give them enough attention, so now you might try to do too much. You try to please your ex too much. Or on the other hand, you feel like you need to walk on eggshells around them. You're careful all the time what you say, because you're worried that what you say will drive them away. Okay, so once again, you're putting the focus on what your ex will think, what they will do, or how to please them. So it's a lot about putting, you know, your energy onto your ex, when, once again, when you do that, your ex will feel it. They will feel like, oh, you're trying too hard, you're doing too much. And when they get that feeling, then they will think, no, then they won't feel that attraction to want to come back, because they think, well, you're just doing this because you want them back. But then what? You know, like, what do they actually get at the end of it when they do come back? You know what I mean? Like, they don't just want someone who will do everything for them. They actually, you know, want someone who is their own person, who has their own mind, who has the ability to make themselves happy. So that's the other thing. If your partner feels like they are responsible for your happiness, like you can't be happy unless they're with you, then they will probably stay far away from you, because, you know, they probably don't want the responsibility to, you know, constantly be the one to make you happy, right? So we all want somebody who has the ability to be themselves, make themselves happy. We're drawn to people like that for a reason. So we don't have to feel like we need to go in and, you know, complete this person. This person is already complete, and that is what makes them attractive. So instead of thinking like you're, you know, trying to go out there to trick your ex back or anything like that, consider that, you know, you're the planet, okay? You're this big, strong, solid state, and your ex will gravitate towards you naturally because you're so strong, because you have a strong center. You're not all soft inside because, or all over the place, because all you're trying to do is, you know, get your ex to come back. You're actually strong, so you don't need to be going out to reel them in or anything like that. You can stay where you are, be strong where you are, and your ex will just gravitate towards you because you know, you've got so much going on in your life. You're happy with yourself, and you know who you are, and you know what you don't like, and that is very, very attractive. So I hope that you like this video, and if you have more questions, please go to my Facebook page and ask the question there. Try to keep your questions short, so within like 2-3 sentences would be good, just so you know, if you send me like a really long message or your story, sometimes it's a bit hard to get through all of them, and especially to respond to them. So I recommend doing that. And of course, if you'd like a complete plan to, you know, how to attract your ex back and the whole deal, you know, then I really encourage you to check out my program, The Ex Recovery System, at exrecoverysystem.com.